Hello, team. Welcome back to another Line War cast. This is your map today. A bunch of islands, a bunch of water, some trade routes going on in the bottom left and the top right. This is a 1v1 ladder game between, in blue, someone said that my nickname sucks, and in red, Basantos. We're going to do the replay today with the commands on, so you'll see the different points and line commands that the players are putting down as part of this. Please let me know in the comments if this is what you would like to see, or we've lately been doing it without these lines going on, but I saw some feedback that said it's nice to see. So just let me know in the comments, or however, scream as loud as you can in your room. Let me know what you would prefer. Basantos is spawning in the bottom right here on this island, heading up north to start capping. Nickname is in the bottom left, going for this immediate trade route, so this will be great for Blue's economy. And 2 docks as the immediate production buildings. Nickname doesn't have any energy on this little island, so getting this gas is likely going to be a big priority for Blue to keep these boats moving. Gas situation, energy situation for Basantos, a little bit more secure, rather like right off the bat. Basantos has 1 dock going, industry and a town as the pre-built buildings. And with the transport boat, we'll see if Basantos decides to go to this little island or immediately send this boat to start contesting the middle. The picking phase that we saw kind of gives both players a little bit of an indication of where the other one will go. But of course, with Fog of War, they won't know exactly where their opponent is yet. Nickname's got these 2 ports nearly done, so the merchant ships will start moving and delivering all that cargo and making Blue money. And a second transport boat. We've seen how Nickname can use transport boats very effectively in matches. Be very sneaky with them. More industry on the way for Basantos, and the first barracks for Red. And Basantos is actually just jetting some of these infantry all the way to the north, which would be very good to start getting a presence on the northern part of the island. And here comes the first boat for Nickname, making its way across this little channel. Second dock is going for a destroyer. Nickname goes for a 3rd dock and a barracks here. It'll be important, I think, for Nickname to have some infantry on this island in case Basantos were to just start dropping right here on this trade route with this transport boat. Because nothing is more frustrating than when you set up a trade route and then all of a sudden your opponent just drops some infantry on it and you don't have anything at home to defend. And the town or the port gets taken out. First group of infantry are on the small island at this point. If we take the tactical view of what's going on, the infantry are midway up the island. And Nickname's starting to go get this second gas. There's actually 2 gases up here, so you can kind of see what Nickname's plan is to go cap these 2. Since these are really the 2nd and 3rd gases that Blue can possibly take, that isn't super contested, you gotta assume that these 2 energy wells closer to Basantos are a little bit more in Red's domain and would be difficult for Blue to take. And here comes this barracks midway up the island. It's actually a very... We don't often see this play, necessarily, in replays, to take some infantry right away and just sprint them up to a different part of the map to get this barracks down. But it'll probably improve the capping efficiency of what Red's going for here. Basantos is going over to this little island at this point. A destroyer is on the way. And we'll see that... Oh, that's the wrong button. We're looking for F. This is Basantos' vision right now. So the port is coming into view. Basantos knows that this is where Nickname likely started at this point. And first refinery for Nickname on its way. Basantos is an airport in these mountains that's starting to build. The range of strikers probably can't hit this refinery, but bombers certainly could. And Basantos just decides to leave, instead of just dropping off these 4 infantry to what would certainly be their demise. Another town for Basantos, and here comes this first refinery for red, and we heard a farm going down, and it's this industry up in the north. Red does have a trade route up here connected to this town, so it'll be interesting to see in this game what is likely going to be a fight for this top island and then this middle island. If either player can really establish like a big foothold on either one of these islands, really, if they could transport planes to it, the planes could really reach anything on the map. And we can just check the eco 565 for Basantos, 576 for Nickname, so about as close as possible. Nickname's got a defensive line right here. It's very close to the water, so Nickname will have to be cognizant to not let a red navy just show up and start shelling this refinery, which it'll be able to destroy it pretty quick. But because Nickname has the dock advantage with 3 against what is still 1 dock, that isn't a concern super quickly. It is strikers out of the airport. When I've been laddering, I've been preferring to go for strikers. There's a lot of talk about how bombers are the meta and such. But strikers can still target buildings, which is a big thing, and I feel like their time to kill is a lot quicker. When they get on top of target, they're able to kill SAMs quicker, for sure. I think there's still a niche for strikers, and a big thing on this map with strikers is they can land on aircraft carriers, which is a key difference that bombers cannot. And an aircraft carrier anywhere on this map could be a big asset for either player, really. Nickname has no airports as of yet. Second gas is on the way. This destroyer is capping what's going to be Nickname's third gas, and Basantos is now at the northern island. Nickname's plan is to also get here to this northern point. We'll start sending some of this infantry across. And that'll be the beginning of what's going to be potentially a big fight for this island. Factory for Basantos here. This is going to be a big play in the sense that if this starts turning into a big fight on this northern island, factory tech could be big. Even just for coastal defense, artillery dug in along the coast by towns and refineries, ports, they can do a lot of damage. Really, the only boat that can kind of fight artillery are cruisers. These massive boats here. Nickname's pooling up a bunch of boats here, probably just capping for now. And we can see Nickname's vision. I mean, Blue knows that red is over here, I guess, clearly, since this drop already happened. You remember how I said that Nickname's very sneaky with transport boats? Didn't even see this. Submarines for Basantos. And subs have that stealth bonus. They're great at picking off transport boats or random little groupings of boats that there's not enough of them to actually see the submarines. You need about 3. Or destroyers. Destroyers have great vision and are great against subs. And at the very least, Nickname's going to get a great scout off here. Sees the gas, doesn't see the submarine pen or the docks, which is great for Basantos. And here's the pipeline setup for Nickname. Going for a depot off of 2 refineries to delay that 3rd refinery. And here comes this airport in this central island. And this is gearing up to be quite a banger, really. 794 income for blue, 812 for red. So not really a meaningful difference. Basantos, of course, gets to the northern island first, pardon me, and puts down a barracks immediately. We'll look for Nickname to do the same thing. And helicopters out of the 2nd airport for red. It is SAMs at the moment out of this northern factory. And getting some sort of SAM count will be great if this airport of Nickname decides to go bombers. Because a lot of stuff is in range of these bombers if Nickname decides to do that. And Basantos is ahead by 30 economy at the moment, 30 total income. Nickname's starting to work on this, what is going to be third trade route, building the town, and we'll look to build that port immediately. A barracks here either indicates that Nickname's going to go for commando drops, or just as further units to garrison on this island, because it's a very strategic island. This is super important, not only because there's a refinery here for blue, but also just because this really is a launching point for attacks on Basantos' main island here. Here comes this destroyer to scout. Destroyers have great vision, so Basantos is going to see this refinery pretty quickly. And factory barracks on the north here for Basantos against one barracks for Nickname. So blue is a little bit outnumbered production-wise on that northern island. One destroyer on top of the dock scouting all this stuff for Basantos. This destroyer sees the port, sees the fourth dock, and just like any RTS, scouting is a huge deal. To know what your opponent's going for and where your opponent's stuff is. There's 3 strikers already done, 2 more on the way. Nickname puts down a second barracks, which is probably not going to be enough just because of the head start that Basantos was able to get with this production. And a little bit of a skirmish here between the subs and the destroyers. Nickname will have heard the subs potentially at this point, so may know that subs are on the field. There's a good destroyer count, so it's not like Nickname couldn't just send these destroyers back in case this went really bad somehow for them. But the 2 cruisers will start chasing away the destroyer and the submarines. And both players just kind of poking and prodding right now, getting good scouting off. Nickname's going along the coast with this missile boat and destroyer. We'll potentially see this northern dock for red. And income-wise, $9.95 for blue, $10.18 for red. It is going to be commando drops. Second transport plane is on the way. We've seen Nickname use commando drops to devastating effect in this Line War cast series. And we'll see how long it takes for Basantos to dislodge these 2 barracks. There's a lot of economy on this northern island. We can see all these farms that are up for grabs. So it is an important island to take for both players. Port is finishing up for Nickname, so there'll be more merchant ships going. Submarines, one of the great things, like one of their strengths is that they can just kind of park themselves between these shipping lanes and snipe all these boats, these merchant ships that are trading. But as of right now, Nickname's got a pretty good defensive setup at home with those 3 cruisers hanging out. In addition to the buildings, there will be enough units to spot these subs, so they won't go undetected if they get too close to the coast. And in the north, it's kind of an advantage for Nickname because Nickname was fighting in the mountains for a little bit. But as soon as Nickname gets off this mountain range, I think it might change. A good thing for Nickname is that they're kind of blockading a little bit. There's no way that Basantos could start shipping more units over with a transport boat if they had one. And here come the strikers to the north. I think we're gearing up for our first fight. A 3rd transport plane is on the way for Nickname. And with 2 barracks, there's going to be a lot of commandos that could drop. And they do... I mean, they can take out a target quite quickly if they're dropped right on top of one. Here comes a factory for blue. So Nickname, if this factory does get up, will have the advantage production-wise. The strikers, though, are going to change some stuff. There's no missile boats in position for Nickname to stop these strikers. And there's a second dock in the north for Basantos. Nickname continues the eco. Helicopters on this airport are going to be great for coastal defense. There's no missile boats for nickname, like we just said. There's one hanging out down here, but that's not enough to take on all these planes. And the black plumes of smoke we see on the strikers indicates that Bizantos is running low on energy, as we can see. That's what the beep beep noise we got was. And here comes the second refinery, I believe, for Red, who's nearly taken this bottom right island. Because of how many docks that nickname has, one of the risks is that Bizantos will get a little bit blockaded on this far right island. It's why this northern island, I think, is even all that much more important. And here comes a quick third energy well for Bizantos. First commando job for nickname is inbound right now. It's going right towards this gas. This is the line that we're seeing. And these commandos will also get a great scout, like the transport planes themselves will get a great scout of what's going on here. Some more industry for Red and where it's located. This farm's a little bit too close. Well, it's not like, it is too close to the water. The boats are able to kill it. And this is a very big moment in the game. The strikers will immediately get sent out to probably deal with this. And this is the power of a commando job right on top of a high value target. With the strikers inbound, they're going to be able to clean up the commandos, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it before the commandos are able to destroy the refinery. It'll be close. There's only one commando left, but the strikers are going to have to circle back around. And if we had health point bars, I am very interested to know how close this is. I mean, this doesn't even look like a refinery anymore. With the warped metal. Nickname is just going to continue doing this. There's some infantry inbound to deal with the gas. Luckily for Red, they've already got these two refineries in the north. The gas situation is getting a little bit stabilized for Bizantos. And these subs, this wolf pack of subs are going to have to come in clutch because nickname definitely has the naval advantage as at the moment. Yeah, that was super close. I mean, it was like 2 shots away. And we hear a pipeline. It's a very smart response, I think, because like losing that third refinery, it makes all the energy that's being gathered from these 2 refineries in the north all that much more important to save up. Still no... Well, there's one missile boat actually here. For blue, but the rest of it is destroyers. This is an interesting situation. So production-wise, Bizantos has more heavy units here and has unlocked this reinforcement point. And I think that's going to be enough for Red to start pushing in the north at some point. It's just really this energy question, and now that nickname's got some commandos loose, that's like bad news for Red. Here come the submarines doing what subs do best. Taking on this one cruiser. But we can just see that nickname has a lot of gas. A lot of energy, going for 2 more refineries and another depot. We've seen in Navy games how important energy security is and managing that. One of the best ways to win a Navy game is to just have more energy and keep your units moving. So in a case like here, if Red was out of gas, nickname could just go attack and take out these boats. When boats are out of energy, when they're firing, they take more damage. When you see the black plumes of smoke on boats, they're going to take more damage for the next 5 seconds. So you can just kind of destroy your opponent's navy and then just run up to the coast and destroy all the docks. And then you just have naval supremacy, and it's very hard to get that back. We saw top down, certainly more territory for blue. I'm not sure what the economic situation is It's a decent amount of cruisers for red, but unfortunately, Nickname has 4 cruisers of his own. But let's see if this Air Force can kind of tip the scales again. This is Nickname's drop, so Nickname is going to go for these refineries again. The helicopters hovering over their targets do a ton of DPS. So red is going to clean that up slowly. And income-wise, 1439 for blue, 1207 for red. So the first sortie from the red planes aren't enough to actually take this out, which is kind of surprising. I thought at first that this was going to work on the first pass, but certainly on the second pass it's going to work. 4 transport planes, though, are going to drop right on all this energy. And it also just interrupts the tempo. If you're Basantos, I think, because when you have to start choosing what energy units you're going to actually move. Is it the boats? Is it the planes? If these refineries get taken out, if both of them get taken out, that's probably the worst case scenario. And we saw just how quickly commandos can take out refineries if they're allowed to shoot it for a long time, and this is a lot of commandos. Good counter push in the north. Basantos clearly has decided this is the time to go. To take control back of that northern island. Both the refineries do get taken out. And a second airport now going for strikers for Nickname. And there's a lot of commandos left over. 1259 income for red, 1518 for Nickname. And this defensive line for blue is going to be able to buy some time, but I believe over time that Basantos is going to have enough. These tanks in the north are going to be what seals the deal. The big question is whether those tanks are going to have enough energy to keep moving. Because we're seeing these black plumes of smokes on all the airplanes and the boats. The commandos are just getting a tremendous value here. And here comes a landing from Nickname, taking out more economy. Just multiple fronts being opened up. Keep in mind that I think when I recorded this video, Nickname I believe was on the top of the ladder. And Basantos is no slouch. So this is about like as top tier line war content as you can get, folks. Nickname is getting out of this defensive line. The situation is pretty dire for blue here. And Nickname's starting to fall back to this mountain range. It's kind of delaying the inevitable at this point, I believe. So many commandos are now loose, and Basantos is knocked down to just 1 refinery. And I think at this point this game is, like, the control is definitely in for blue. It'll be devastating if these commandos can take out some of these docks. But what a push through here. Good combined arms. All the units you could possibly ask for. And power plants, in fact, in the north for Basantos, which are about 1/3 as effective as refineries. But you can just tell that's the desperation kind of how effective Nickname's been with these commandos. This is certainly breaking now for Nickname. There's only 3 SAMs in this defensive line, so that's not going to put up much of a fight for much longer. And more eco in the north for Basantos. Income-wise, 1,500 for Nickname. 1,300 for Basantos. 3 cruisers taking on a destroyer and a submarine. This is where the submarines do great, because these 3 cruisers won't be able to actually see the submarine. 3 cruisers don't have enough detection by themselves. And more drops for Nickname. And they're going right to this energy source again. Tank SAMs and infantry are on top of this factory. There's more artillery in the back. I assume at this point Nickname's kind of just given up on that northern island. These commandos are doing a great job. They got 1 dock. They're probably going to get a 2nd dock as well. And it's these 3 trade routes for Nickname have just been so clutch on the economic side of things. And also Nickname's defended it quite well. It's the geography of Limeware maps is very interesting, right? Because this choke, it's very difficult for Basantos to get anything through here as long as Nickname keeps some boats there. So I mean, Basantos really has to go up through this channel, but with the energy situation the way it is, it's a tough thing to do. More eco for Basantos. I think that's really one of the only ways to get back into this game. A Nickname now puts them 3 more airports. And another barracks. So probably just stepping up how many commando drops are going on. This is where it's tough. All these boats have great vision. There's no way anything's going to get through this channel. That's a great game. Multiple fronts going on. 1528 income for blue, 1384 for red. So total income is still relatively close. The factories have been turned off in the north for Basantos to save some money on that unit production. And this trade route could change things, could start bringing this back to being even. But this impending enormous amount of transport planes and whatever else is being built out of here, strikers, it seems like, that's a huge play for these commandos to take out that airport. And a proxy barracks for Nickname in the north, with commandos still running around. 2 more docks for Nickname to cement, pardon me, that naval supremacy. Basanto's rebuilding these docks. And here comes a rocket from Nickname, which will take about, I think the number's like 7-ish minutes for this to come online, but then it's going to be able to hit pretty much close to this town. So Basantos has the energy back. Let's see what red can do with this. Helicopters out over the open water. Take out this 2 cruisers and 1 missile boat. And it's just multiple drops in all different locations for Nickname. And this will be extraordinarily annoying for Basantos to deal with, and also very effective. Good garrison of 2 commandos on this town, so this probably shouldn't fall. This one is in a lot more trouble. And these 3 infantry should keep this town safe as well. I'm hearing submarines. Is it here? Yeah, it was here. Unfortunately, for red, that was taken out by that 1 cruiser. Basantos has now seen this barracks, which is in the forest, so it would have had a little bit of stealth. This town does go down. 4 commandos on the loose in the mountain range. This southern town is saved. A lot of transport boats now sending all these infantry over to Bisantos' main island, or at least that's what I assume the play is going to be. First port is on the way. Another town being built. And a dock in the north for Bisantos to start protecting this trade route. This impending trade route. Launchpad is still not done. And yeah, I guess actually, so the play isn't for Nickname to send those infantry over to the right. They're actually just going to go to the left and start capping this. If we go top down, it's a pretty split map. 1573 income for blue, 1569 for red. And it just shows you that this is still very close economically. I'm actually almost surprised. Just because of how much, like, tactical tempo Nickname's been able to maintain because of, I think, really just those early energy denials by blue were so clutch. If these 4 commandos can destroy the depot, that's a relatively big deal. And does Bisantos know how many airports there are here? Not yet. Still tremendous value out of the commandos for Nickname. You can see, like, one striker actually can't see any of these buildings in the mountains. That's that stealth bonus that you get building stuff in the mountain ranges like that. It is a mixture of interceptors and bombers now out of all these airports. Then here come these 4 transport planes again, loaded with commandos. City in the north for Bisantos, which is worth about as much as one of these trade routes that Nickname has. And the commandos still just crushing, really. We'll see if Nickname decides to send this navy down around the bottom to contest the sub-pen and the dock. There's actually another city on the way for Bisantos, and that's something important on this map, is that Nickname doesn't actually have a lot of access to cities. Another trade route, or rather port, in the north for Nickname. The bombers, as the count grows, it's going to be very difficult to deal with this many bombers. There's not a lot of SAMs here for red, and there's no interceptors on these airports as of yet. As the focus has been strikers, really, I think, in response to how many drops have been going on. The strikers are pretty good at cleaning up commandos. All these transport boats for Bisantos is going to start moving some of these units off of this northern island. We'll see where the plan is, like where they're gonna go. Rocket is 1/3 of the way done now for Nickname. The port in the north for red is on the way to connect this trade route. And here comes some missile boats for Nickname. And if these missile boats can kind of just hang out here, they're going to be really close to... I mean, I guess it doesn't even matter that much anymore, because both these airports are going to get taken out. And there they go. This is the landing. Rocket is 2/3 of the way done. Here come 4 more transport planes. I mean, it's really 5, the 5th one kind of lagging. 1753 income for red, 1598 for blue. So Bisantos is actually ahead on the eco game at this point. And we'll have to see if this landing is successful. And Bisantos started to push in the north. There's a chance that Bisantos could take control of this game again. Missile boats are going to be great to start intercepting some of these transport planes. This one, unfortunately, does get out for... I mean, unfortunate if you're red, great if you're blue. And this very quick reaction defensive line for Nickname on this northern coast, protecting this rocket, which is now on its way. We'll see where it decides to go, probably around here. There's a lot of units here. 3 commandos are going to get medals for their work to scout. And another city for Basantos, who's just been relentless with this eco game. One of the refineries goes down, the city won't. The city can't be destroyed by one rocket. But here comes so many bombers again. Good defense on this landing. It's very important that this city stays up for Basantos to give all that eco. More barracks for Nickname to beef up this landing attempt. There's not as many reinforcements for Red in the bottom, just because there's no, I mean, there's no real way to get reinforcements down there. There's not really that many producers down here, so I think over time Nickname's going to be able to pull that off. One of the transport planes will go down. I'm shocked that it did not go down. And another dive on this city from the commandos who are looking to take out this location after the rocket kind of softened it up. Crane operators are horrified right now. And that's a big play, because it also denies this trade route, and these merchant boats have to stop what they're doing. Nickname's starting to establish a little bit of beachhead in the south here. And this is a big play. Both these docks for Basantos will fall. Submarine pen and 2 more docks in the north for Basantos is going to start trying to land in the northern part of the map. And income-wise, 1615 for blue, 1691 for red. Both players have enough gas. Well, actually, Nickname is pretty low on gas, so these bombers and strikers can't really be flying right now. I think this game looks a lot different if Basantos was able to kill this northern energy source. And if Nickname wasn't so quick to defensive line here, like if this landing worked. Four infantry probably not going to be able to kill this city anytime soon. And Basanto's continuing to go for eco, which is the play. I mean, red is ahead on the money game. These 3 cruisers are probably going to knock it back down because they will be able to destroy that city. There's no artillery along the coast to defend it. And the landing begins in earnest for Nickname. 3 transport boats. Another rocket is about to get fired. City is about to go down. Good landing from Basantos here. But 1 cruiser might be able to defend the whole thing. Or rather, those 2 docks. And even more drops. Which we've called them before the BBD. The big Basantos drop, the Basantos base drop, whatever you prefer. Which is when you take these commandos and the transport planes and you drop them right on top of a high value target. I mean, it's been happening all game. I mean, it's named as such because the first time we ever saw it was in a replay between Basantos and Infenzia, where Basantos used it to great effect. Here comes another rocket for nickname. And presumably it's right at this energy source, and we'll destroy both the refinery and the depot. And we'll watch Basantos' gas here. And that's a lot of lost energy. And with nickname now securing these two energy wells, probably seals the deal, because it's just going to be so many bombers now, and the range that they have. These red lines, this is where the bombers can go on this middle island. Commandos, artillery, and infantry are valiantly trying to defend against the blue infantry, but with all these bombers overhead, it's just a matter of time. There's only 4 SAMs really here to deal with it, and it's just such an enormous number of bombers. And the thing about bombers is, as long as enough of them get back home, it's not necessarily about the first sortie, it's about the subsequent one, and it's about the third one, and the fourth one, and just constant. And every time that they hit a building and it damages it, it actually drains your opponent's economy, because repairing these buildings costs income. So they don't have to kill buildings to be effective. Which, I mean, I didn't know that until recently. Someone in chat pointed it out. But the more you know. Go top-down view. Nickname's starting to get a foothold in the bottom right. And that's GG. And let's see some graphs. I'm interested to see the graphs in this game. Specifically the income. Yeah, this was very close on the income. Shows the power of denying energy for your opponent. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the game. Check out the Line War Discord if you want to learn more about the game, if you want to go find matches, chat with folks. I hope you have a wonderful night, evening, day, morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever it is for you. We'll see you soon. Peace.